Well, good morning and welcome to today's episode of Random Thoughts. I'm glad that you are with me this morning. Do we dare go for round number 3? If we went with round number 3, this would be an Olympic boxing match. No, just kidding. Don't even bring that up in the comments. No. Do we talk about it? Yeah, we do. My focus today is going to be about one key thing: the future. The future of the church, the urgency that I sense that we may have not quite grasped hold of well, along with what do we do? What's our focus as Lutheran Christians in the realm of moving forward? We're going to get all into that. We're going to take care of that right after all of this. Welcome back to today's episode of Random Thoughts. We're going to be talking about the future of the church. And now that we've had round 1 of elections, round 2 of elections, and now round 3 of elections, we now have a president who will be serving our church for the next 3 years. His name is Reverend Dr. Matthew Harrison. He has been elected to serve as the president of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Now, that's done. That part of the process, which happens every 3 years, like I mentioned previously, this is not abnormal, okay? This whole process is not abnormal. This has happened before. This is historical. So let us not work ourselves into a tizzy about the election, the gap by which he won. Everybody's speculating on that. No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. You're not going to entice me into it. So we move on. He is the president for the next 3 years. We support his leadership because he has been duly elected by the church body. Done. It's over with. So now where do we go from here? That's the question that we need to be asking ourselves. Where do we go from here? The Lutheran Church Missouri Synod is something of a unique oxymoron, if that makes sense. I'll try to explain it. We are rooted in the past. Our foundations are historical, ancient Christian, forming up out of the beginnings of the apostles and the disciples and the first and second and third generation of the disciples. And we've moved from the original 12. We've moved from these guys. We've moved from Paul and his apprentices. Now we're into the second, third generation as we continue to move forward from here. Now, we are now, in our context here in the early to almost mid-21st century, we are now living in the roots of that ancient church. The liturgy that we use, the format, the basis of it is ancient. The interesting thing is we are also in a conundrum of how do we be modern? What do I mean by modern? Not accepting the modern thought processes, meaning the ways of the world that would cause us to doubt our fundamental ancient doctrines. No, we do not accept that. We will not accept that. At the same time, we need to be connecting to people, here's the kicker, people who live in the modern world and bring them the ancient Jesus. That's the oxymoron. Taking an ancient message of salvation in Jesus Christ, which is good for all people of all ages, of all times. It is ancient, it is modern, it is rock solid, it is fluid. this is what we need to focus on. We need to focus on the ministry of the church in the future. The present and the future. From now on, president has been elected. Let's leave that aside. We're done with it. Now, where do we go, both as a church body and as a congregation? President Harrison will determine the direction that the church body will take for the next 3 years. We, here in Huntsville, Walker County, and surrounding areas, we determine the direction of our congregation. What is Faith Lutheran Church and School going to be like in the future? The next year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years. We have an opportunity to define that. We are, as we have called ourselves, people where the love of Christ lives. That's a phrase that describes our current, who we are. Love is this wonderful gift that comes from God. I don't want to spend a lot of time in each part, but this is who we've defined ourselves to be. We equip the faith, make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. So we are an equipping congregation. We equip the faith. We encourage with hope, with the promise of salvation in Jesus Christ, both for now and forever. And we engage with the love that God has given to us, the love that we are people of the love of Christ. That's our banner, if you will. And the means by which we make it happen are through meaningful worship, conversational discipleship, outreach and service, and faith-filling school. 4. This is the means by which we do it. Now, what we are all about in the context of the future is defining how does that means work. How do we work the means? In other words, when it comes to meaningful worship, what does that look like? What does that experience like? What do we do in the context in order to make the worship meaningful? Well, first and foremost, it's God in it, but I don't want to dive into each segment. Our conversations that lead to better and stronger and newer disciples. Our outreach and service, our outreach to the community, our service within, and our faith-filling school, bringing Jesus into children and families who may not yet know him. So, those are the 4 fundamental areas in which we do. And our overarching words that tell us what we're all about, what do we do in order to build up and raise up present and future disciples. Our whole life as a church is about raising up, building up present and future disciples. We do it through the 4 means of the 4 different methodologies, and we do it because we want to equip, encourage, and engage. It all flows. So, what does the future look like? A lot of work, a lot of good work, a lot of wonderful work, in being modern in our approaches to the people of the world. Like I mentioned previously, we are not to be modern in the way the world describes modern. We are to be modern in the context of how do I connect to modern people who are struggling with these particular issues. That's what we are all about. That's what we need to define. And so it's a lot of work, a lot of energy. God will be behind it because we're doing it on his behalf. We're doing it for the people who are in need. We are doing it to raise up and build up present and future disciples. That's what this is all about. So today is all about the future. It's not about what has happened. What has happened in the past is the past. That's done. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to comment on. What we need to look at is what is for the future. So if you have any comments about the future, Where do we go from here? What do we do? Do you have any ideas of how to make things happen? Please let me know. I'd like to talk to you about what can and should happen in the context of Faith Lutheran Church and School, and ultimately, by extension, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Okay? Let me know about that. I look forward to talking to you and seeing you on Sunday morning, and it'll be a great and wonderful day for us. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.